Joe Boy, don't you think this is all about getting people's attention? It's the attention bank that people want. They did whatever it could from the company, like Len says, the company put out this ad that could be construed as whatever you want it to be, and then it gets responded to by either side in the attempt of commercialization and making money, whether it be eyeballs, statements, attention, whatever the case may be. That's today's currency, is attention.
Welcome to Third Side Convo with your host, Bob Phipps. Your panelists today are Ted Johnson, Jeff Forever in Blue Jeans, Klein, Len Brown, and who let that guy back in, Joe Boy. And now, your host, Bob Phipps.
Welcome. Tonight on Third Side Convo, we're looking at one of politics' oldest tricks, the distraction. You know, the kind where something shiny shows up in the headlines and suddenly the real story disappears. Our modern case, Sydney Sweeney. She wore a pair of jeans, and within days, the internet turned it into a culture war. I mean, from jeans to somehow eugenics. While everyone argued about denim, those other stories quietly slipped away. Now, from there, we're going to slip into history's greatest distractions, including the Granada invasion, where we went from mourning Marines in Beirut to cheering a Caribbean rescue in just 48 hours. You know, if the headlines have us arguing about these things, maybe we ought to check what's happening behind the curtain. So first, we're going to go to Ted. Ted, our politics have been used. Is this true that they actually like distractions, politicians, and it's both sides probably? What do you think?
I think distractions are another way in the area called avoiding the question. I think the current practitioner has made an art of this from his time as TV host of a famous show, reality show. And he knows that in the TV business, the entertainment business, at the end, you always have to leave a little tidbit to make people come back and view in the next week. He now is excelling at saying, oh, something happened here, but look over there, because that's even worse. And what do you know? But as for Sydney Sweeney and her jeans, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it's a white person and it's something about jeans, and it conflates with something that's already simmering in the zeitgeist of American culture, and that would be racism. And they connect, and the next thing it becomes a story.
Yeah, I got it. Lenny, what did you see? Who started the whole thing on the Sydney Sweeney stuff? Who started it?
I think a company did when they put the commercial out there. And, I see this personal stuff, a reporter chasing Sydney Sweeney down, asking her if she was racist or whatever. And really, she just read the script and did the commercial. If somebody wants to get mad, they ought to get mad at the company for putting it out there. She was just the vehicle that got paid to do that.
Got it. Jeff, was this a design distraction? What do you think?
Oh, not by design at all. It was another complete accident when it comes as far as that goes.
Okay. Well, how did you think it happened? I mean, was it real? Was it either political side actually did this or what?
Well, I think that people are looking for ways to cancel or looking for ways to make to seem ridiculous. How's that? The Democrats eat their young, and the Republicans stay together and worship their leader. I mean, how can we mess up the next election more?
All right, Joe Boy, what's your opening take on this whole thing?
Oh my goodness, Bob. Okay, there's this guy named Dylan Mulvaney that says he's a girl. He gets up and makes Bud Light lose $400 million. Guess what? A hot girl goes and puts on some jeans, and she makes a company $400 million, and the left is going nuts and saying, oh my God, she has to be racist because she's hot. Guess what? She's just a hot woman in jeans, and she uses a term and says, I got good jeans. That's it. It's People like looking at attractive women selling stuff. Sex sells. Let's face it. That's just the way it goes. I'm so sorry you're mad about it, but let's find something else to cancel. By all means,
But
keep
don't
going.
you think, Joe Boy, don't you think this is all about getting people's attention? It's the attention bank that people want. They did whatever it could from the company. Like Len says, the company put out this ad that could be construed as whatever you want it to be. And then it gets responded to by either side in the attempt of commercialization and making money, whether it be eyeballs, statements, attention, whatever the case may be. That's today's currency, is attention.
You don't think
but I
people have been
promise
putting
you
out
on the-
jeans commercials for years? Come on. Nothing
On the
gets
set of
between
that
me and my
commercial-
Jordache. That's been out there forever.
Yeah, on the set of that commercial, I promise you, nobody said they're going to think of Hitler because we said jeans. I mean, it's just not how things are done. I've been on hundreds of television commercial sets, and the ad agency people has come up with ridiculous reasons not to do stuff to make sure that they're not going to offend anybody, and they cast things where they have one of every possible ethnic person in the crowd, and they do all this stuff very, very consciously, and they have people who are good at being a devil's advocate and saying, well, but if we do this, we might have trouble with this, or we don't want to offend that group or the other group. None of them thought of that this would become a eugenics thing.
First thing, I don't think it was sourced to be a eugenics thing. I think other people picked up the ball and ran it that way. I think that's definitely a comment of today's culture. I think that's more likely what happened. But at the same time, it has gone on in the past where people say, well, if we throw a big mud ball on this big white wall, it'll create more attention that way. I mean, companies do try to be, quote, radical and say outrageous things just to create attention.
And I don't think the politicians paid them or encouraged them to make it a distraction.
No, they didn't. No one said they did.
No, but you can tell when they're doing it consciously. Like GoDaddy, big company, they spent their entire budget for the year on one Super Bowl ad, and they became a huge success. But it was all about sex and will host websites.
Imagine that.
And that sold. But my point is they were consciously, intentionally outrageous.
Well, but how much of this, Lenny, let me ask, let's let Lenny back in. Lenny, how much of this was getting back to, because of things like Dylan Mulvaney and all this other stuff, how much was getting back to the fact of having a commercial or an ad that most guys would actually enjoy looking at? I don't know if you enjoyed looking at it, Lenny, but I thought the jeans did look pretty good.
Yeah, those were good jeans, that's for sure. I'll agree with that. But yeah, I mean, pretty girls sell, and that was the intent of the commercial, was to throw a little bit of sex in there, I think, and try to create some attention around the apparel that was being featured, and all this other stuff is it's a distraction from that message, really, when you think about it, right? Taken away from the power of the commercial, but that kind of backfired because now there's even more attention around it.
Well, but it doesn't, as Joe Boy was saying, it didn't backfire. It sounded to be a good financial decision. Now everybody's chasing Sydney Sweeney to do their ads. I'm trying to get her for 30.
I don't know if that's true or not.
It was risky. You look back at where we were with when the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light thing happened. The company probably thought they were doing something that was good, that matched up to the culture of the society at the time, and that wasn't
what Kid Rock do. He shut up a couple 12 packs. Wow.
Yeah.
So Kid Rock wasn't with Bud Light, but he got the attention. That's my whole point. See things like this, and they try to get attention to either themselves or to an issue, and that's the economy we now live in.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a great thing about culture. Can't you probably look at anything and look at it from a bad way? I always look at things from a good way, so it's kind of tough. But was it a little ridiculous what this got to?
Bob,
Absolutely.
Bob, H.L. Mencken said nobody ever went broke underestimating, the intelligence of the American population. Come on, this is the lowest common denominator issue that spreads everywhere every day.
When these influencers all want their P.T. Barnum 15 minutes of fame. I guess that's Andy Warhol 15 minutes. Anyway, the P.T. Barnum thing where, it just becomes a spectacle. But again, it would. I don't think anybody thought this was going to intentionally turn into.
Was it P.T. Barnum's suckers born every minute?
Yeah, there you
Yes.
go.
Okay, does anyone believe that this
It
is actually a
applies.
racist act? Does anyone here
What's that?
believe it was a racist act?
No.
No,
Absolutely.
that turned into a racist issue. It wasn't a racist act. It got turned into a racist issue. Yeah.
And who did that?
Well,
Was that the media by
Rachel,
chance?
Media,
It
responders,
didn't-
influencers, whomever.
It became a racial issue, not a racist issue.
There you go.
Right.
You know,
You have to view it
she's a
through a
registered
racial
Republican.
lens.
So this is how bad it is. She is a registered Republican. Oh, the certain president has said many racist call-outs in the past. Therefore, 2 + 2 = 112. So there you go.
It's insane, isn't it? Well, but the
Yeah.
media always does this. I mean, so I'm not sure it was. I agree with y'all. I don't think it was an intentional distraction. I think that the company actually liked the fact that how much we talked about it, because how much free advertising did they get on that thing?
And a whole lot of other ones have been made, Bob. Did you see the ones with active presidents as if they were wearing the jeans, and all the AI ones and the things? People are making ones that have a bunch of guys in rainbows and stuff out there. They're getting a lot of free ad time.
So
Are you
I think
sure
that's
Bud
what you
Light
see
lost
now,
money
Joe
on that
Boy.
other deal?
Yeah, Joe Boy, you're touching on something that's very important. It's a generational change. Is that something organic can become synthesized and become 1,000 copies, still talking about the same subject, but with different points of view. That's something that's happening very quickly, and it's challenging what many people to be the veracity of the central issue. That's what's going to be dangerous.
Got it. All right. Well, listen, we're going to go on and get into some historical things that were probably real distractions, and maybe even talk about, the wag the dog in jeans type situation here. It's certainly wag the dog's been done without jeans quite a bit. Please subscribe, YouTube, thirdsideconvo.com, and we will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call Your Computer Solutions today, and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad, my computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling Your Computer Solutions at 407-826-0810. The Tibia Show would like to thank Boggy Creek Airboat Adventures for being one of our sponsors. I got to go on an airboat and saw a real gator. I even got to go to the gem mine and mine for some gems. We ate a steak dinner at the restaurant and even got some gator bites. If you want to have a blast with the entire family, I suggest you go to www.bcairboats.com right now to get your tickets today. The website again is bcairboats.com.
Now that we're back, I'd like to go on and, we talked about Wag the Dog. There are probably some younger people watching that show. So, Ted, you're probably the most contemporary person to me on there. Go on and give us a little bit about what the heck Wag the Dog means.
So what that means is that the issue or the response to the issue is more important than the central issue. So in the movie, it was whether or not there was a real war needing to, it was a scandal in the president. And so to distract from this issue, PR team tried to create a fake war. So the issue was to wag the dog, the issue to get people away from the main issue and keep their mind. Therefore, the issue wagged the political body. That's what wag the dog means. In other words, the attention takes away from instead of the issue creating the attention creates the issue.
Well, it's kind of like does the
Sorry about that.
Exactly. A little bit around when the tail wags, the whole body, the dog moves. Yeah, that's kind of the thing there. You're right. Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro. It's a fabulous movie, 1997.
Great movie.
It is a great movie. But they literally start a war on a fictitious country just so that they can distract everything from everything that's going on. It's an absolute
From a presidential scandal, right? Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Well, what about Jeff Klein? You probably remember, and Lenny, you are old enough to remember Granada, right? The Granada invasion.
I've never thought of Granada as a wag the dog distraction until you presented it that way today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see it, right? I mean, you kind of understand where it was.
I suppose. it involved our allies. I'm not. There was so much going on at the time, and I can see it. My recollection on Granada is always the Saturday Night Live commercial about the Time Life book series of the Granada War, one volume for every hour of the war. And that's how I remember that, and the Clint Eastwood movie.
Well, we did need a military victory back then. That was important. Okay.
That was my point, Jim. Bob was going to say to Jeff as well as Ron, is that I think Jim Baker and Reagan and all those guys are going to go, you know what? We need to win. We need to win. It's like Florida deciding, okay, let's put Idaho State on the schedule. We need to win.
Yeah. I can see it now and concede the point that there's a good chance that's what it was all about.
Yeah.
Now, but what other pop culture stuff does this whole Sydney Sweeney episode really talk about? I mean, what does it say about us?
Well,
It creates Sweeps Week. It makes sweeps for the news. It gives people content to be able to keep making fun of stuff and complain about stuff that doesn't matter.
There was a time when tan suit. There's that became a giant issue, but everything that guy did, the other side made a giant issue.
Right.
And then he bowed to such and so, and then Jim, guess what? Here's a bunch of pictures of the other guys bowing to so and so, because that's how they greeted each other in the Middle East. It didn't mean anything, but every time. And then the tan suit also produced a whole bunch of pictures of politicians throughout history in tan suits because they made a stink about something they thought meant something.
Oh yeah,
and it turned out to be a big nothing burger.
Well, yeah, and then the other side had the blue suit at a funeral, right? I mean, and then there were lots of people in blue suits. I guess it just says something about all of us that we love to be distracted on this stuff. I guess we do.
I think the biggest problem, and I'm sorry to jump in, but the biggest problem is that real journalism is gone. A real journalist,
you just can't find it or pay
real
for it.
Real journalists would not take that story on and turn it into the crap that they turn it into.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a journalist.
Well, because I guess even journalists now, it's all about clicks, right? It's not about serious stories. Yeah. It's all about clicks.
It's about profit, not about news.
Well, don't you love it when you see this heavily sourced story that has like 6 reporters on it, these days, and you're like going, what the heck are they doing? I mean, this is your business, Ted. I mean, how much does it talk about?
There's a lot to say here. First thing, it's not all. There is some. The other thing, there is click farms that take something out of context and put it up so you click on it. And then on top of it, you can't find the real nut of the story until you go down 5 or 6 paragraphs. In the meantime, you pass over all these ads. That's how they get views. Therefore, they count. It increases revenue. Back to the commercialization of media information. But I think it also boils down to, Jeff was talking about a little bit, was the fact that in today's world, we're worried about so much, and therefore it's so easy to get distracted. We have such a plethora of information sources. We can get so much anywhere. But what do we pick? We pick girls in jeans or cats chasing laser lights. So I think today there's so much disruption. We had technological creative destruction through AI. We got political and economic upheaval from tariffs and stuff like that. We have so much. So this is so overwhelming. It's easy to get a piece of Kelmore corn or a big piece of candy and chew on it for a while to distract for something else. And I think that's why the distractions are more common and more powerful.
Hey, Lenny, how much of this has to do with younger people? Because I know younger people's as they say, their attention span is, I don't know how many seconds. Tiberius, you could probably tell me. But like TikTok, being where they get their stuff from. What do you see?
No, it just goes from one thing to another. And it lasts 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then right on to the next thing. And there's so many things coming at you at one time. It's like, well, I'm looking at something on sports on this. Oh my God, look what happened. Can you believe that? And then, there's a temptation to hit that click and look at it. But, that doesn't turn out to be anything. Swipe. Still got the click on there though, but there's so much coming and it's so easy to distract by just throwing a ton of stuff at once.
Well, so it lowers the level of having facts. and the truth, because it makes it easier to lie about stuff if it goes by fast. It makes it easier. People post stuff with no context.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a picture of somebody punching somebody else, and then they post a headline that makes it, oh, this actually happened here. And of course, the headline has nothing to do with the image.
See, I think you're both wrong. You're dead wrong, Jeff. As a journalist, I know that my obligation is get the closest version of the truth that I can discover and get it out on the page or the post, whatever the case may be, and do it in a way that informs people so they can form their own minds. So not all. The second thing is there is a commercial aspect to it all, but it has to do with quality. And so what we're all talking about is the fact that there's so many sources and so much access that there is no commonality of what the truth is.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I'm saying that this trend makes it easier to lie and not be a good journalist, like you're saying.
So it's not all. It's just the ones that are making money. Therefore, the ones that are on TV and getting out there and being noticed.
Even the ones that
but the ones that are small, that are hiding in the desk and underneath the thing, yeah, you're right. They're not doing it.
Even the ones that lie don't make necessarily money. The market usually takes care of it.
Yeah.
Because after a while, you can only see a site for so many times before you realize, okay, I don't trust them anymore. I'm not going there anymore. Remember, I worked both in journalism and I worked in e-commerce. And in e-commerce, we realized the most dangerous thing was to get a person lost when they're looking for information on a product, pair of soccer shoes for your kid. The last thing you didn't want them to do was not know where they are. If they didn't know where they are, they would go click and you'd never see them again. They'd go some other place to go. You never want them to
display hot women with low-cut outfits, and they'll keep following, and they'll find the place where they need to go. Right?
So the biggest market for online shopping is women. How well do you think that goes for women?
Yeah. But now
No, they've done research, and men like looking at women, and women like looking at women. So either way, women has the most common denominator. They're going to be displayed more than men. It's that simple.
It's a bit simplistic. I don't.
Yeah. Well.
No, they got analysts where they actually study where the eyes move and where they're looking at on commercials.
I've done it.
They run tons and tons of analysis, and everyone prefers looking at women versus staring at men. It's that simple.
Well, that's true.
Sure.
But
so they're going to get the gigs to show off products for some reason. Can't imagine why.
Well, no wonder. No wonder I got 4 guys on the show. I don't know what that tells us, but it's not good. Well, it is totally our fault, you know. And I mean, having Station Michelle on is always a treat. So, but we've got to go to take our break right now. Please subscribe. Go on YouTube. Very easy. Third Side Convo, 3RD Side Convo, and we're also on Amazon Music. We're on Spotify, and you can still find us. And we'll be right back after our break.
Corona Cigar Company is your one-stop lighter, a place to enjoy the finest cigars and spirits with friends, or the only cigars grown right here in the Sunshine State. We've got you covered. Come visit one of our retail locations for the ultimate cigar experience. Visit us online at coronacigar.com.
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
All right, welcome back to our show. You know, actually, one of the greatest things is we've had a heck of an agreement on here. Is I think everybody actually liked the ad, correct? Thought it was a good ad?
I don't think I've seen it. I just know the reaction to it.
I haven't seen it either.
Really? How did you not see it? It was on like Good Morning America. It was on.
I don't watch Good Morning America.
So the people on the left didn't see it?
I know. That's what's surprising. Yeah, it was all over the place, I thought. You know,
I just heard about it and some of the memes.
Okay, it is worth actually seeing. The memes of various politicians from both stripes in jeans doesn't do anything for me. However, actually, Sydney, I thought that was a pretty good ad. Yeah, now she got a Baskin-Robbins ad, I guess, and somebody else, or is it Dunkin' Donuts? Which was it? I think it was Baskin Robbins. Something about her licking an ice cream cone. I don't know. But, it's kind of like, Ted, think about the way it is in sports now. Don't they direct the cameraman, right? You know that, right? They direct the cameraman now to stop fixating on the good-looking women. What do you think about that? I know guys got to have a opinion about that one.
I haven't heard that. Who's told them to stop doing that?
Ted, you
That's
know
how
about
get rating.
Ted, you've
funny,
heard of it. Lenny, you?
NFL game always shows the cheerleaders at least 2 or 3 times, and basketball dancers at halftime get on TV.
I know that.
So.
But as far as people in the crowd, I have heard that they have actually directed them, stop showing all the good-looking ones.
You must not be watching college football
I am.
because they show them all the time.
Well,
Jen Sturger.
All right. Well, you know what? One of these days when we have our fact checkers, I'll have it, because I know I've read something about this, that they're trying to get the cameramen to stop fixating on the same female in the stands or whatever the case may be.
I'll bet it was a press release from some organization that said we want to stop focusing on objectifying women, and we've asked the NFL to tell their producers or to tell their camera. I'll bet that's where it came from. Some sort of organization that put out a press release that got enough coverage that you read it for them to
could have been.
Come on, I need more diversity. We have to have the heavy girls in there to show that body positiveness, right?
You know what the NFL does every
more.
October.
Buy more
Every
McDonald's.
October, the NFL spends a ton of money and time on breast cancer awareness for the month of every October. And they tried doing prostate cancer one month or 1 year, and it didn't really play.
Wow.
And I don't think they do it. I think they quit doing it after 1 year. I could be wrong, but
gee, I wonder why.
Sure. Whereas their audience is 80-90% men, but they do the breast cancer thing every year.
So Bob, to your point though, you ever hear the story of Jen Sturger?
No.
Did you ever hear that story? No. So she was a University of Florida co-ed. Mm-hmm. She went to a football game, Gator football game, tight cutoff, trimmed Gator t-shirt, cowboy hat, push-up bra, jeans. And she's in the end zone. And the camera catches her, and Brent Musburger says, "Oh my." And this is the beginning of the internet.
Oops.
In short order, everybody knew who she was. And next thing you know, she's famous. Next thing you know, she does, she gets her own TV stuff. Then she did a layout in Maxim. Then she did stuff for the New York Jets. Mm-hmm. And then she got harassed by Brett Favre. So it went on down the line. She said her life was more or less ruined because of that moment. Well, Brett Favre really ruined it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But it comes back to your point. Yes, there was a time when they really did focus. Now, I remember a famous show from the SC-UCLA game in the late 70s where the TV producer planted a B-level actress with a fur coat and a low-cut top, and they kept flashing to her. And finally, she got the message. She stood up and took off the coat. Yes, they used to do that all the time. Yeah, the TV boys.
We should feel really bad for those poor, attractive women that are really suffering by having to be put on TV. It's so sad for them.
Funny off-the-air story for a Dallas Stars hockey game about a woman on camera. So I'll be glad to tell it off the air sometime.
Okay, we'll wait till after that. But well, in Fame, we'll say it's a little bit overrated at times, isn't it? You know what I mean? Then you get screwed up, just like Ted's story there. How many other people are screwed up because of Fame? So we only want this show to get some successful. Doesn't have to get real bad successful, okay? A little money would be nice, but whatever.
We don't want to get thrown out of any restaurants because we're on the show.
Exactly. God. Oh, it's crazy. Well, yeah, or hate mail or whatever the case may be. Lenny, is it still okay, though, that we celebrate beautiful women? Is that okay without being misogynistic, or does that make one? Ted, you got to tell me. You're the definition guy. Does that make us misogynistic?
So are there any women out there who want to do that on their own and are party to that and encourage that? I think there is. I wonder how many
So,
women
you know-
dress up thinking, "Oh, what if I get on the NFL cam?"
There you go.
And
People see
and
me.
that'll be my 15 minutes of fame. I can create videos, do commercials. We can do all kinds of stuff. I can get famous and rich.
Well, and then
It
the
takes
funny,
a little bit more than that. But
well,
yeah,
the
you're
funny
right.
thing is, what do guys do when they want to be seen at a football game? They're wearing some stupid helmets with horns and with all. I mean,
No.
it really
Or
does
no
tell you
shirt,
the difference
or
between
face
men
paint.
and yeah, they're without a shirt, which isn't that exciting for most of the times, but they're
But
all
it's 10
painted
degrees,
themselves. So it's amazing
Painted.
how men and women at sporting events do different things. Well,
Well,
this was definitely a show for the books. I don't know which books, but it was a show for one of them. And so please subscribe on YouTube. You never know what you're going to get when you go on thirdsideconvo.com. And please check us out again, and we will see you next week on thirdsideconvo.com. Thank you for it.